In this video, I want to show you how I built a subway station in Minecraft and how you can do it too, because all the steps you need can be broken down into even smaller steps, and these smaller steps are actually pretty simple. Hi, I'm Architect and welcome back to Neo-Quito, the cyberpunk style city I am building. Before you can start building a subway station, you have to make some decisions about your subway system in general. Will you use minecarts so players can actually use the subway system, or is the subway only decoration, detail in the city, so you build the train carts yourself to give them a good scale in comparison to the player? And then there would be the third option of using mods for the subway system. These three options massively influence how you will build and how everything will look and work. I decided to go for the second option. So the subway I will build is for the player non-functioning, but has a quite good look and a reasonable scale. I will eventually add a second public transportation system that is based on minecarts to the city later. Minecarts can look good if you build a tube system that uses pods, the minecarts, for transport. Otherwise, minecarts sometimes can look out of place in modern or futuristic cities. Once you have made your choice, you should think about placement. This means where will be your station, but also where your tracks will go. This includes thinking about where you will need a subway actually, because for a lonely house in the woods, there's no need for a subway station. Where the entry should be, to where it will connect, and finding a place underground. You may first think it's easy to find space underground, but it's not. If you're like me, you will build streets and parking underground, a sewer system, and maybe even underground slums in the sewer system. To get a better view how the situation is underground, I would recommend going into the spectator mode in Minecraft and then just fly underground. And then you can see all the stuff you already built there. In the case of the city center of Neo-Quito, the answers to these questions about placement are the following. I need a subway station there because of high population density. A lot of people live, work and use services here, and they need to get around. Because of the size of the city center and because I only will have one station here, I will have at least 2 entries. The central position of the subway station means I want to connect to every other district. With the spectator mode, I did find an area suitable for the subway station and decided that Y coordinates 54 to 38 will be somewhat reserved for the subway system, meaning that I will try to only build the subway system here and nothing else if possible, which makes future planning a little bit, well, a lot easier. If you liked the video so far, why don't you like it? And if you want to see more from me in the future, you should definitely subscribe to the channel. But enough of the planning, let's start building. I like to start quite rough and do all the big work first. Due to this, I began building the first entry and I already did smaller details here. Well, sometimes I don't do what I say, but after the entry I actually started to just work rough and clean out the area for the subway station. I decided to have 2 levels. On the upper one, people can get around, switch between platforms and maybe get a snack. On the lower levels there will be 2 platforms with 4 tracks for the trains. For the rails, I don't use standard Minecraft ones, but instead use a simple design that is made out of anvils and smooth stone slabs, with a simple motive that they seem more to scale. I have to say they are actually a little bit too big, but that's okay. In general, they look kinda good. After being done with the rough work, I started to add some walls and a ceiling to the upper level. Here I got inspired by a real world example, the Underpass to the ICC, which is part of the Berliner U-Bahn, which is the Berliner subway system. For the walls, I wanted something that looks like tiles, that's why I did choose dark prismarine. The floor is provisional and I will change it later. Then I got back into the lower levels and here I also did the ceiling and some walls. I wanted to have 2 different ceiling colors, so over the platform there's a white ceiling and over the tracks there is a grey ceiling. Then came the time to build a train. I decided to go for 5 block wide train. A lot of people do also 3 blocks, so 3 and 5 blocks I think is like the the common width of the most trains that I see that are built. I think the front and the back are the hardest part of a train to build. It took me several attempts to create a good looking front. And the general form is like a box that is rounded, so that's kinda easy. That was actually my first time building a train in Minecraft, like in a player scale. So if you have any tips or recommendation how to do better, I would really like to hear them, so write them in the comments please. To make the wall look more interesting, I decided to add some support structures built out of Minecraft walls to the wall. To give passengers some information or some advertisement, I've added like information posts throughout the platforms. Then I got back to the upper floor and walked on one of the entryways. Here I used Android's as neon lights. I changed the provisional floor from light grey concrete to polished andesite, and I also added a small area for a cafe or a restaurant with seating that is a little bit lowered into the floor. In a subway station, it's important that people know where they are going or where they have to go, and I made big signs with the help of banners and added also smaller signs, normal Minecraft signs, so people know where they have to go to get to a certain platform. And signs and item frames are also important for restaurants or bars or everything that has to do with food, because you can really show that this is a place where you can eat. At this time while building, I got a creative block. When this happens, nothing works really anymore. I just don't get detailing done. So I usually try to do something else that is not demanding for the creative part of my brain. I decided to build the other entry, which is basically just copying the first entry. And that's a tip I would also give you. If you have creative problems at the time, do something that you have to do that is repetitive, not really hard for your brain, and maybe you get a creative energy again. And this happens for me, so I basically copied the other entry, and after that I could go on and detail again. With enough creative energy again, I could then actually think about designs for a vending machine that turned out really well, and did some more detailing on the upper floor. The same vending machine as on the upper level, I also added to the lower level of the station to the platforms. On the upper floor I had this wall left where I couldn't set any benches in front of or put a vending machine in front of, because a lot of people walk through that area and it will be just in the way. So I was really thinking about what I could do with this wall, because just having a big empty wall is kind of boring. So then I got the idea to actually dig in a little bit into that area and create counters for like a drink shop and for like a food shop and for tourist information. And I think that makes the whole upper level even a little bit more interesting and adds nice detail to it. A cool and easy to do detail idea for a subway station is adding maps to the subway station, so people know where they are and where they have to go from the subway station. My final detail to the subway station is display boards. I had some initial trouble building them, so I decided to raise the ceiling of the lower level up one block, so I could fit them in. With the build being done, enjoy now the end time lapse where I show you the whole build. Thanks for watching till the end. Hopefully you liked the new middle section where I do explain a little bit more. I look forward to seeing you next time in Neo Akito.